Manga-Waido.
I'm Ken Moriuchi. I'm in 11th grade. This is a story about this sushi restaurant I went to the other day. The owner was a jerk to me at first, but then things took an unexpected turn. They say first love doesn't work, but I disagree. I asked out my first crush and she said yes. Her name was Risa Tsuyama. She was in the same grade as me. We started dating after the school festival when we were in 10th grade. I really enjoyed spending time with her. We studied together, went to the movies, went shopping. I just loved being around her. And I thought the good times would last forever. But then, she got sick. She was diagnosed with LAM. It was a rare disease that poked holes in your lungs. It was often seen with young women. She started getting asthma-like symptoms and was rushed to the hospital. After the doctors did some tests on her, she was diagnosed with LAM. She was pretty sick. She was in a lot of pain, but she always smiled at me.
I'm glad it wasn't contagious. I just want you to be happy, Ken.
Her parents did everything they could to save her. The doctor said the only way for her to survive is an organ transplant. Both her parents agreed to donate one of their lungs. Whenever I went to see her, I could tell that she was in pain, but she always smiled at me.
It's almost my birthday. I really want to go to that famous sushi restaurant.
She was talking about this restaurant called Ikari Sushi. She went there once when she was a kid. I had never been there myself. It was a 3-star restaurant. She said she hasn't been there in years. Her birthday was the day before her big surgery. I wasn't sure if the doctor would let her go out the day before the surgery, but I had to act. I paid a visit to the sushi restaurant. Ikari Sushi was located in the city. The place looked old. I wasn't sure if it was open or not. I looked up the place online before I came here. There weren't a lot of reviews to begin with, and most of the reviews were negative. They all said that the owner was a stubborn jerk. What does that even mean? Hello? There was a counter seat and 2 tables, nothing else. The owner glared at me from behind the counter. I could tell right off the bat that he was annoyed. I'd like to make a reservation. He ignored me. Or maybe he just didn't hear me. He just kept sharpening his kitchen knife. Excuse me, sir. I'd like to make a reservation.
Get out of here, kid. This isn't a place for you.
I guess I saw it coming, but I couldn't just give up. It's not for me, though. My friend, she's in the hospital and...
I don't do takeout either. If you want my sushi, you gotta come here. End of story.
I asked him again and again, but the answer was no. Finally, I gave up. Maybe I'll just go home and write a bad review. But then...
Your friend?
The owner started talking.
How bad is it? Is it your family?
My classmate. She's getting a lung transplant. She said she wanted to eat here for her birthday and... The owner put the knife down. He looked at me and told me to take a seat. I sat down by the counter and told him about Risa.
Wait, does she have a mole next to her left eye? She came here with her family once, about 5 years ago.
He was right. I can't believe he remembered her.
Fine. I'll make her some sushi for her birthday. I'll bring it to the hospital.
Risa's birthday. I got the doctor's permission to bring in some sushi from outside. The owner came and delivered the sushi himself.
So good. So good. This is exactly what I needed. Thank you. Thank you so much.
Sure thing. This kid here, he just wouldn't take no for an answer.
Risa's parents thanked me too. I was just glad that everything worked out. After she finished eating, something happened. Risa's parents tried to pay for the food, but the owner refused. Her parents insisted, but the owner kept saying no. Then he started talking.
5 years ago, my wife passed away. We had no kids, so I was thinking about closing shop.
But then, Risa came to the restaurant with her family.
The way she smiled, it really cheered me up, you know. That's why I kept the restaurant open.
I see.
Then, the pandemic happened. I lost a lot of business. I was thinking about closing shop again, but then he showed up and...
I guess I got there just in time.
I decided to keep going. Your daughter, she saved my restaurant twice. So no, put your money away. It's on the house.
Sir!
Get better. Come see me at the restaurant when you get out here, okay?
Yes, thank you.
We all thanked him again and again. We asked the nurse to take a group photo to remember this special day. After that, we all got some much-needed rest to get ourselves ready for the surgery. A few months later, I visited Ikari Sushi. The place was quiet as usual. The owner was sharpening his knife in the back. Hey.
Hey, what's the matter?
I started crying as soon as I walked in.
Wait. No. No.
The thing is, Risa didn't make it. The doctors did everything they could, but she was gone. She was so young. I couldn't leave the house for a while, but I knew I had to tell him in person. Risa, she really enjoyed that sushi.
Yeah.
Then, the owner started crying too.
Why her? She's so young. Why? Why?
The owner cried for a while. Then he wiped the tears off of his face and started packing up his things. Sir?
I'm done. I'm closing shop. It's not like I got customers anyways.
Wait, I got a letter for you. It's from Risa. I took out the letter and handed it to him. She wrote it the night before her surgery. She thanked him for the wonderful gift and told him to keep doing what he does best. The owner started crying out loud.
Thank you. Thank you so much for this.
A few days later, I shared a story about Risa and the sushi restaurant online. I wrote about how much she loved the sushi there and how she saved that place over and over again. The article got a lot of feedback. Everyone was really supportive. Soon, Ikari Sushi was packed with customers again. There was always a huge line in front of the restaurant. A few years later, the hype was gone, but the place was still really popular. The owner told me that sometimes famous people come to eat there too. I was all grown up now. One night, I stopped by to say hello.
Hey there. I knew you'd show up. Today is Risa's anniversary.
He saved a seat for me. He had a photo from the hospital on the counter.
So, what can I get you?
Surprise me! The sushi was delicious. There were a lot of customers there, but the owner and I talked for hours on end. A few hours later, I got up and left. Thanks, that was delicious.
Sure thing. Come back anytime, kiddo.
He was still stubborn towards other customers, so everyone seemed really confused. Lisa, see you again next year. Love you.
I'm Haruka. I'm 21. This is my sister Akina. She was really pretty. She was nothing like me. My grandma liked her more than me. She was always giving her money for being so pretty. But she never gave me anything. I was so jealous. Akina knew she was pretty too. By the time she was in elementary school, she had a closet full of clothes. Grandma even taught her how to use the sewing machine. Then, she started looking down on me. Not sure why, but... Hey! That's mine! Why are you wearing that? Wait, why is it so short? Did you cut it or something?
I made some alterations. Looks cute, doesn't it?
She started taking my clothes without permission. I couldn't believe it. I started locking my doors, but she snuck in every chance she got and stole my stuff. My parents told her to stop, but she didn't listen. Then, one day, she took my favorite t-shirt. It was a t-shirt of this band I liked. I usually hid it, but that day, I was going to a concert with a friend, so I had it out on my bed. But then she took it and turned it into a handbag.
Grandma said she wanted a handbag. What do you think? That shirt was super old anyways.
I had no choice but to go to the concert with a normal shirt. It felt pretty awkward since I was the only one not wearing the t-shirt. I really needed to get out of the house, away from her. Then, something happened. My boyfriend, who I met at work 3 years ago, he asked me to marry him. He said I could come live with him. I already knew his parents, and they were really nice to me, so I said yes. After that, we introduced our parents to each other and we set a date for our wedding. His mom even gave me this beautiful kimono for the ceremony. I wore it when I got married to my husband, but I can't wear it anymore, so I want you to have it, dear. It's a bit old, so you might have to fix it up here and there, but... Oh, thank you so much. So I got this beautiful dress. It was pretty expensive to fix it up, but it was my special day, so I really didn't mind. A few weeks later, the dress came back. It was as good as new. But then, one day, the dress disappeared. Where did it go? Then, that night, my sister came home wearing the dress. It was ruined. I'm so sorry. I wanted to show Grandma. She's getting old and I just wanted to see her in a wedding dress and I'm so sorry. She said she went to see Grandma and fell in a puddle of mud on her way home. I couldn't believe she took it out without my permission, but she just wanted to make Grandma happy, so I let it go. You should have just told me. I would have said yes. There's still time, so I'm gonna have it fixed up. It'll be fine. Oh, thank you. I'm so sorry. She's never apologized to me like this before, so I was kind of surprised. I was still mad, but I decided to let it go. But the next morning, I took a closer look at the dress. It wasn't just mud. There were food stains all over the dress. She said she went to go see Grandma, but then how did she get all these stains on here? Something felt off. I looked at my sister's socials. Then... Oh, what the? Turns out she was at some party. It was all a lie. She was at a friend's wedding. I asked one of her friends about her. She was out of control. Her clothes were getting dirty, so I told her to settle down. But she said it wasn't hers, so she didn't care. At one point, she started cleaning the floor with it. Stop it! It was all an act? That's it! Akina, explain yourself! You weren't at Grandma's! Liar!
Oh, so you found out. Whatever, you said you can fix it up, right?
Yeah, but you're gonna pay for it. You owe me $20,000.
$20,000? Stop messing around.
My mother-in-law, she was planning to give this to her niece after my wedding. But after I told her what happened, she said she didn't want it anymore. So now you're gonna have to buy it from her. The dress itself costs about $18,000, and the dry cleaning costs about $2,000. So $20,000. Pay up, now! I showed her some receipts. She realized I wasn't lying. Her face turned blue. But she kept refusing to pay, saying that this was not her fault. So I had no choice. My mother-in-law, her maiden name is Matsunomiya.
So what?
Wait, Matsunomiya?
Yup. You know, that fashion school you're applying to?
She owns the place. I haven't told her that you're applying there next year. But if you're not gonna pay...
Fine, I'll pay. Please don't tell her.
Good. Well, pay me what you can now. You must have $1,000 or so saved up, right? We'll figure out a payment plan later.
Okay.
But the thing is, it was all a lie. It was all made up.
But my mother-in-law gave me a fake receipt to trick my sister, so I could get her back for what she did to me.
Her maiden name was actually Matsunomiya, but it was just a coincidence. She had nothing to do with the school.
If she had apologized right from the start, I would have let her off the hook, but oh well.
But then, she did something unexpected. That night, she snuck into Grandma's house and tried to steal money from her safe. Grandma heard a noise and called the cops on her. When she found out it was my sister, she didn't press charges, but my parents finally snapped.
Get out of the house! Don't come back!
They kicked her out of the house. She stayed with a friend for a few nights, but eventually she had nowhere to go. She came back to the house, begging her parents to let her back in. My parents ignored her.
but it was starting to rain and she was yelling pretty loud, so they finally cracked and let her in. They decided to let her come back, but under one condition. She had to pay me in full for damages. So she got a job and started paying me back every month. It was either this or she was back out on the streets, so she finally cleaned up her act. Ever since the incident, Grandma kept her distance from my sister. She lost everything. She had to work long hours every day to pay off her debt. She didn't even get into that fashion school she wanted to go to. I hear she spends her days crying in her room. Oh well, not my problem. As for me, I got married and moved in with my husband. I'm done with my sister. Time to move on with my life.
My name is Sakura. I'm turning 28 this year, and I work at a venture-backed company. Work environment is great. There's no gender discrimination, and it's a rewarding job with decent pay. However, there is just one person that bothers me. She's a colleague. Her name is Aya. She always talks about her boyfriend Tomoya. He is extremely rich, and she seems to be incredibly proud of their catch. She told us how he is young, but already has an impressive job title and makes way more money than anybody in the same generation. On top of that, he's head over heels for Aya, so he spends a lot of money on her. Just the other day, in the locker room, "Look! My boyfriend bought me this! He said it's perfect for me!" She was showing off her new expensive purse. Nobody cared, but it didn't stop her. "I guess it's because I'm just so classy! I look good with everything! I got so many likes when I uploaded a picture on my social media!" She just went on and on. Yeah, good for you. On top of that, she looked at other people's things. "That's only for work, right? Still, even if it is just to bring to work, you might want to pick something more stylish. Isn't it embarrassing to be using such a cheap brand?" And tried to one-up her. She probably doesn't notice the cold stares everybody gives her. On another day, "Isn't this cute? My boyfriend bought this necklace for me yesterday." And then she stared at my necklace for a bit and... "Seriously? Where do they sell that? It's obviously really cheap. Why would you wear that?" Insulted me. The female employees weren't the only ones she would try to put down. She picked on some male employees at a company party. "If you really loved your girlfriend, you would buy her more expensive stuff." She was pressuring him. And when nobody answered her, she went up to the married men and said, "What kind of presents have you given before?" It's none of her business. Why does she care? We all tried to keep our relationship status on the down low because we didn't want her to mess with us. The worst incident was when a few of us were in the bathroom during lunch break. We were fixing our makeup and showing each other our makeup bags to share information. Just then, Aya came into the bathroom and barged into our conversation. "Huh? I've never seen that before. Where do you buy your stuff?" So it began. "You should always buy your makeup at department stores. Run away. It looks like a kid's makeup toy." It was a known fact that Aya always had expensive makeup in her makeup bag. But what's wrong with finding good products that cost less? Nobody said anything to her because we didn't think the conversation with her was worth our time. However, finally, our days coping with her useless pride would come to an end. Aya was going to get married. She had always talked about how working in this company was temporary. So we were all aware that she was planning to quit the company after she got married. She looked so happy being congratulated by so many people. I genuinely felt happy for her. Congratulations! I'm so excited for you! So I congratulated her from my heart. However, she was a genius at making everybody upset. And she made her last attack. "The wedding is going to be big, so I'll invite all of you. But we'll be living in different worlds after I marry, right? So don't ever call or text me, okay?" What do you mean, different worlds? Everyone in this company will have to work even if they get married, right? It's because you all are poor and you'll have no choice. I need to cut all ties with unwealthy humans. It's unbelievable to make such an audacious remark with so much confidence. However, it seems as though this time she went a little too far. It made everybody furious. It made me angry too. And so I decided to fight back. "If you really think that way, you don't need to invite any of us to your wedding. Apparently we're too poor to buy gifts anyways." "Huh?
You're not gonna spend anything to congratulate me? How selfish! I don't care if you come or not. We could just pay people to come to the wedding. All that matters is that I'll be there looking gorgeous. So you don't have to come. Bye, losers! Wow, she just won't stop. I'm up for the challenge. I had an idea. She sent us invitations anyways, and I decided to attend the day of the wedding. I already had plans, so I was only able to attend the wedding reception. My colleagues who attended the actual wedding had texted me earlier, and they told me the wedding was gorgeous. No wonder she was bragging about it to us. I bet she's having the time of her life today, but this time, she'll have to accept defeat. I'd brought a supporter with me, and his presence really encouraged me. Aya was about to do the bouquet toss. Just when I arrived at the reception, as the car appeared, everyone turned their eyes towards me. What? The groom looked amazed, and the bride looked shocked. Hey guys, sorry I'm late. As I got out of the car, everybody started talking at once. It was obvious why. I was riding a limousine with a driver. Who wouldn't be surprised? Huh? What's going on? You came in a limousine? Her eyes were wide open, just like you see in comics. However,
Sorry we're late.
what? She saw who came out of the limousine after me and started screaming like a crazy person. This handsome blonde is my boyfriend. His name is Yuya, and he is also the CEO of our company. Yuya is young and rich and single. Every female employee dreamed to be with him. I had known him since middle school, although we weren't that close when we were students. After I joined his company, we started spending time together, and we ended up dating. I kept it a secret because I didn't want Aya to find out and go crazy. He proposed to me the other day, so I decided her wedding would be the perfect day to announce. What the? You never mentioned anything about dating him! Well, it's not mandatory to report my private life to you. You're probably being played! You haven't gotten any presents from him, right? You only own chick things! That's not true. This necklace was a present from him for our anniversary. It's a designer necklace, but you insisted that the brand name would be engraved if it was expensive. And arguing with you didn't seem worth my time. Yuya pretended to be coughing behind me, but I knew he was holding in his laughter. You were laughing behind my back, weren't you? Aya turned bright red, and she was about to erupt when the groom came up behind her.
Thank you for coming all the way here for us, sir. It's no problem. I'm sorry that we're joining so late. I wanted to congratulate you in person, though, so I'm glad we were able to make it.
Huh? Kazuki? You know this man?
I told you before. He's the one who's been helping me with business clients.
Apparently, Aya had no idea about her husband's job, and as he explained to her, she turned white as a piece of paper. The fire in her had been extinguished. Aya called a few days later. Why did you keep something so important from me? She started yelling at me on the phone. I'm sorry. Now that I'm marrying Yuya, we will be living different worlds. So, I don't want to talk to you. So, I told her exactly what she said to me before. Aya kept apologizing and trying to suck up to me since she knew Yuya held a lot of power over her husband's job. I would be willing to at least take her to dinner if she was willing to apologize to my colleagues. But I'm sure her pride and ego wouldn't allow it. I bet she will spend the rest of her life trying to prove she's number one. But I just feel so satisfied when I reminisce about Aya's stunned expression at the wedding.
My name is Momoko Sakurai. I'm a 28-year-old businesswoman that works at a company in my hometown. I've been a scaredy cat since I was a child and have always hated loud noises, darkness, and scary stories. One time, I was accidentally locked up in my grandma's cellar. It was only for a few minutes, but I passed out from fear. I would even cry from hearing a balloon pop. My parents were always very wary of my wimpiness. After I became a working adult, I thought that I would have gotten over my fears, but nothing changed. I'm still scared of dark places, and I can't even watch horror films for over 10 minutes. Of course, I still get scared by thunder, but I live a life where I would even get scared from the sound of something falling. Luckily, no one in my workplace laughed at me when I got scared over little things. But the boss's son Haruo liked to play mean pranks. He would pull out chairs as I tried to sit down or scare me by suddenly coming out of the dark. Haruo likes to do these things to everyone, but it seems like my reactions to his pranks were the funniest. I became his target before I knew it. My coworkers would stop him or tell me to watch out because Haruo was hiding. So nothing terrible came out of his pranks. Unfortunately, the thing that I was most worried about happened. That day, we were celebrating the completion of our company project with a small party. There was catered food and the atmosphere was cheerful. But the moment I stepped out to use the bathroom and opened the door...
A successful prank!
It seemed as though Haruo popped a party cracker at the same time that I opened the door. I'm pretty sure the party cracker was left over from the beginning of the party when all of us popped it together. I could close my eyes if I knew it was going to pop, but I wasn't prepared for this sudden sound. I started panicking. I jumped backwards while screaming. Unfortunately, there was a shelf behind me. As I bumped into it, all the files came falling down. Books and stacks of papers hit my head and shoulder. In the end, a huge file hit my head directly. What? Momoko-san?
Are you okay? Someone call an ambulance!
I passed out and was taken to the hospital. I heard this information later on, but the file had hit my head very badly, and I was in critical condition. It might have been because my parents had been desperately calling my name. 4 days later, I woke up and said to my mother, who was sitting next to me. When I woke up, I didn't know what was going on. I remembered being surprised to see my mother hugging me in tears. I heard about the party cracker situation later on and learned that I was in critical condition. I was relieved that I woke up and didn't end up dead. But it wasn't that simple. Due to the damage to my brain, my right hand was partially paralyzed. The doctors told me I would be able to gain back full control if I went to rehabilitation clinics. But the shock of not having control over something that used to be so natural to me was very big. Bad news continued. A week after I gained my consciousness back, I was forcefully released from my job. Apparently, the boss's son Haruo starts panicking when he thinks about me. He was the one that popped the cracker, but didn't apologize to me and ended up getting me fired. My parents were pissed, and I was also extremely angry, but I didn't have the energy to continue working with my paralyzed hand. And the boss had even given me double the normal amount for severance pay in addition to medical bills, so I agreed to the dismissal. My days were filled with rehabilitation after that. I couldn't write, eat with chopsticks, or do anything that I had been able to do normally before. I cried many times from how helpless I felt. But I didn't give up. After 6 months of rehab, my hand was able to move without complications, even if it was a little rusty. Momoko! I'm so proud of you!
Thank God! I'm so relieved!
Yeah, thank you, Mom and Dad. Things started looking a little brighter for me. I was starting to think about wanting to work again. Apparently, it's true that luck comes to you naturally when you're positive. I was going to start looking for a job when one of my friends asked me if I wanted to work at her company. I had been working with public relations at my old company, so she had scouted me knowing that I had experience. I answered with a big yes and started working with my friend. Luckily, everyone at my new workplace was very nice. They understood my situation with the partially paralyzed hand and gave me work that I could do easily. There wasn't anyone around to scare me like how it was at my old workplace. I finally found an environment where I could work in peace. About a year after I started my new job, one of my old coworkers called me and asked if we could meet. When I went to the coffee shop she told me to meet her at, I saw my old boss who had fired me, along with Haruo who had popped the party cracker at me. I started getting cold sweats the moment I saw their faces. I didn't want to see them. I turned on my heel to leave, but...
Please, wait a minute! Hey, Haruo, apologize! Get on your knees and apologize to Momoko-san right now! You need to be the one to say it!
I sincerely apologize for what I did to you!
I didn't ask, but my old boss started explaining things to me as I looked surprised. I was using social media and blogging to advertise at my old job. It's strange saying so myself, but I had a popular account with many followers. I compared our products with products from other companies, gave honest reviews, and posted specific details about our new products with my drawings. I updated my blog frequently, and the number of people that accessed my page increased every month. But the moment I left my old job, I stopped posting on social media and updating my blogs. With fewer people accessing my page, sales have dropped. It seems as though one of my followers had asked, why doesn't she post anymore? Someone replied saying, I know about what happened. The boss's stupid son played around and messed up, so they dismissed the coworker in charge of the social media accounts. The post quickly blew up. After the tweet went viral, people started saying things like, I'm not going to support a company with a bad work ethic. Or, I'll just use a different product. The customers started declining. I haven't checked any of my social media accounts after being dismissed, so I didn't know about what was happening. I learned that going viral on the internet was extremely scary.
Please, we're begging you. Come back to our company. I'll pay you however much you want. If you don't want Haruo at the same workplace as you, I'll even demote him. So please.
What? What are you saying, Dad? I'm the next CEO of this company. What do you mean you're gonna demote me?
Shut up. It's better for the company to have Momoko-san rather than a son who can't bring in any profit. Do you not realize that?
It seems as though an intense father and son fight had started, but... I already work at a different company. I have no intention of returning to your company. Goodbye. I quickly left after saying that. If I'm being honest, I was happy seeing Haruo apologize and their fight. Oh, also, my coworker chased after me as I left and told me that she was the one who leaked the information online.
Sorry about that, but the boss said he was going to make Haruo apologize to you on his knees, so I thought you'd want to see that.
She confessed everything to me and stuck her tongue out like a little devil, so I couldn't help but laugh at her. My coworker transferred jobs after that too. According to what I heard during the celebration for her new job, the company had gone viral and received negative feedback. There were rumors of the company going bankrupt, and the employees started quitting one after another. They eventually ended up bankrupt. It seems like my ex-boss and Haruo were given jobs by a client that felt bad for them, but their rank and salary dramatically decreased, and they sold off their house because they couldn't pay off their loans. They even had debt from when their company went bankrupt. So, I heard that they were really struggling. I'm pretty sure they wouldn't have been in that kind of situation if they didn't do what they did to me. I'm going to do my best at my new job to thank my friend for giving me a job when I needed help.
My name is Takashi Kato. I'm 29 years old. Since I was a student up until now, I've always had a hard time socializing with people. I am truly jealous of people who are able to converse and laugh with others with ease. But although I had thought so, I didn't necessarily make any effort to change. I've continued being an introvert nerd who plays games and watched anime as hobbies. Thus, although I'm almost in my 30s, I've never had a girlfriend nor best friend before in my life. On the other hand, I had loads of time to spend by myself. Because I was a serious, earnest person to begin with, the only thing I had to do at a school where I had no friends was to study. I had the brains to begin with, so my grades got higher and higher, and I was able to get into a good university. I graduated without any special event in life in particular, and was able to get a job at a decent IT company. And around this time, I started studying foreign exchange in the stock market. I didn't think I'd be able to continue working at my company's society forever, so I wanted to learn how to earn money alone. I started it as a means of self-defense. Luckily, work wasn't such a hassle for me, and because I was already getting slightly sick of anime and games, I had a lot of time. Because I used that time on researching about trade, I was able to get results quite quickly. In just about a year, I had an amount of savings unbelievable for a person my age. But after I finished work, I just went straight home. I would go straight to my computer without even saying I'm home to anyone. I didn't have anyone to talk to in this lonely room of mine where I lived alone. I didn't go shopping, nor did I have any place I wanted to go. Was that why? One day something had crossed my mind. I have money, but if there wasn't a place to use that money, why am I working hard to earn it? I work at a decent company and I have my results as a trader. I thought naturally that I would be happier than others if I earned a lot of money. However, the results didn't change whether I had money or not. I didn't want to be alone anymore. I want a friend, and a girlfriend too. I also want to get married. As I thought so, I realized that this time I truly wanted to change myself. I decided to register myself on a marriage matchmaking site. A little while after I registered to that site, I decided to meet a 24-year-old woman named Mio, whom I'd been conversing online with. My first date with a woman. As I waited at our meeting place nervously, one lady came to talk to me.
Are you Takeshi?
Yes! There standing in front of me was a beautiful lady with long black hair. I thought at first sight that she was someone easy to talk to. I had already decided where to go for our date, a membership system bar that I often went to. It was a great bar for me to go to because nobody minded me drinking there alone. Of course, it was quite expensive, but the environment was luxurious and it was a wonderful place for a date.
This is a great place, isn't it?
Oh, you know about it? She too was a member here. It was strange that we had never met before, and I was always alone facing the floor. Maybe that was why. Because we coincidentally were users of the same bar, even I, who was not great at conversing with others, was able to enjoy a decent conversation with Mio. Also, when I told her that I was a worker with an IT company...
My father is also the president of a company that has relations with IT firms.
I see. So her father was the president of a company. That's probably why she was able to come to a place like this normally.
I've talked to many men before in my life, but I always thought that my values were different from theirs. Maybe it's because I'm the daughter of a company president, but the places I wanted to go and the content of our conversations were always slightly off.
I see.
But you're different, Takashi. I feel at ease when I'm with you.
Oh. It was the first time a woman said something like that to me, and I was very happy. Even after that, we continued meeting each other and got along very well. After half a year had passed, I couldn't wait anymore and made a marriage proposal.
Of course!
She said yes to me, and I was able to get married! My life with Mio was like a dream, so different from my lonely life when I lived alone. Mio was not good at the housework, unlike what she had told me, but that didn't matter at all. I was just happy that I was able to make use of the money I earned. Even when I got home, I stopped checking the trading market like I used to before. It was something that I did only because I had so much spare time alone. Because I had Mio as my partner now, I didn't need to use my time and energy on the trading market. Just around a year after our marriage one day... No way! I was told that the company I worked at went bankrupt. Apparently the company was experiencing a financial downfall since a while ago. But now that they were at their limit, they decided to close down. Mio, I have something to tell you.
Huh?
I lost my job and I haven't been investing on the trade market for a while either. I lost all means of income. I honestly told Mio the current situation I was in.
I see.
Mio's reaction was very cold. But of course, there was no way anyone could stay sane after hearing that her husband's company went bankrupt. But don't worry, I will find a new job right away! After that day, I spent all my energy in finding a new job. However, because the season and timing was bad, I had a hard time finding a new place. It was around that time that my unemployment insurance came to an end. Anything was fine. I just needed to find a job. Thus, I started working as a security guard. My salary would drastically decrease compared to when I had my previous job. But with this, I was able to prevent doom. Although we were poor, with Mio, I believe we could get through this. Mio, I found my next job for now.
Oh, that's great. So?
It's a job as a security guard, but...
Security guard? You're kidding. I can't be with you anymore. There's no way I can live under the same roof as someone who has that kind of job.
What? Why?
I'd rather go back to my parents' house then.
Is money everything to you?
Ugh, I'm sorry, but I cannot trust poor people.
I decided to meet you in the first place only because you had a high salary written down on your profile on the matchmaking site.
I had started matchmaking because I thought it was sad that the only thing I had was money. But the only thing she was looking at after all was my money. Is that so? I got it. Mio and I got a divorce a little after that. 3 years passed after our divorce. I regained my time alone, and although I was depressed for a while, I decided to get myself back together. I started investing in trade again in hopes of learning how to live independently. I was able to increase my money on track. Now I'm able to spend my time going to luxurious restaurants and buying cars, and finding different ways to make good use of that money. When I posted some pictures on social media, I started getting likes from people I didn't know. I guess this was one way of getting approval from people. It didn't feel bad at all. In the midst of that, I got a call from a number I used to know. Huh? It was Mio. Because she didn't contact me once after that incident, I was a little reluctant, but decided to pick up the phone.
Hello? Takeshi, it's been a while.
What is it all of a sudden?
Can we meet sometime? Can we get back together?
Those were Mio's first words after we met for the first time in 3 years. According to her, she had been thinking about us for the last few years and realized that she had made a huge mistake. She realized that she wanted to get back with me, she told me. Find another man on that matchmaking site.
That's...
I already know. Nobody wanted to meet you, right? That's why you contacted me. And I already knew it. The truth was, the company that I used to work at had business connections with Mio's father's company. It was the company I worked at that went bankrupt first, but Mio's father's company was also in danger. That company also broke down thereafter, and Mio was also probably going through a financial crisis right now.
There aren't any decent men on the marriage matchmaking site. Nobody tries to see the me inside.
Of course. Matchmaking sites are where people find and choose people depending on their visual status, just like you did before. Mio wasn't young anymore. She wasn't the daughter of the company president anymore either. She no longer had the appealing status she once had.
You are able to earn money again right now, right? Let's try again together. We'll be happy. Just the two of us.
I'm sorry, but I cannot trust poor people.
How can you say something like that?
That's also what you said before. Don't tell me you forgot that already. After I rejected her like this, she was unable to say anything back. All she did was look at the ground. Saying my final goodbye, I left Mio at the shop, who sat there frozen like a statue. Poor woman. After that, Mio didn't contact me anymore. From what I heard from others, Mio's father's debt was very large, and Mio herself lived in a life of poverty in a small, worn-down apartment. On top of that, because Mio didn't have any experience in working and having a decent job, she committed shoplifting and was caught. She didn't have to go all the way and prove the statement she made saying poor people cannot be trusted. Although she turned into that, she was a woman I once loved. I do hope that someday she will get herself back together, somewhere I have nothing to do with.
I'm Shuhei Suzuki. I'm 28. I work as a salesman for a construction company. I was pretty good at my job. I sold houses for a living. I was always in the top 3. And they paid me well, but only because I was able to meet my quota every month. It was tough because I was always under pressure. But I got thousands of dollars for every house I sold, so it was pretty rewarding. It wasn't easy, but I really liked this job. But there were all kinds of people in my company, and not everyone got along.
What the hell is this? We need more time than this. Why not? You did it last month.
The sales department and the engineering department, they never got along. They were always fighting. And there was this middle-aged guy named Koji Oba. He was 46. He hated the sales department. He always had something to complain about. Everyone tried to avoid him as much as possible. And I was no exception. I wanted nothing to do with him. He was just trouble. He always bragged about what a badass he was. Apparently he was in a biker gang when he was young. He always talked about how he was still connected. I wanted nothing to do with him. One day, I was eating lunch in the cafeteria. It was open to the public, so there were lots of people from the neighborhood. Then my boss sat next to me.
Ah, there you are, Suzuki. This is Yamada. He just joined us. Hello, I'm Yamada. Nice to meet you.
I said hello and introduced
Hello.
myself.
I'm
He
Yamada.
seemed like the quiet type.
Nice to meet you.
He certainly wasn't the chatty
Hello.
type. I was kind of worried about him.
Suzuki, you're in charge of training him.
I understand. It's eat or be eaten out there. Once training is over, you're on your own, so remember that.
Okay.
He had to work on his posture and facial expression. He just looked so depressing. In other words, he didn't look like a good salesman. Hey, why did you want to become a salesman anyways?
Well, I wanted to change myself.
There was a lot of work to be done, but I think his heart was in the right place. After a few weeks, he was a changed man. Yamada was actually pretty smart. He did everything I told him to. Then I told him to go get a haircut, to do something about that hair. The next day, he surprised everyone at work. I barely recognized him. Then one afternoon, he came running to my desk and said,
I just got a new client.
"What? No way! Already? Let me see the papers."
Everything just kind of fell into place, I guess.
Wow! Is this for real? Good job! I now had some serious competition, but I was really happy for him. Great job, man! This is great! Let's go grab a drink tonight. On me!
Thank you.
But we still had the engineering department to worry about.
You know how busy we are? We can't meet this deadline. Get out of here!
I'm sorry, Mr. Oba, but is there any way you can fit it in?
You asking me to delay the other projects? Are you serious? Get out of my face!
I guess I was expecting this, but still. Normally I would just give up, but this was different. I was terrified, but I stood my ground. But adjusting the schedule to meet deadlines? Isn't that what you do?
What did you say? You got some nerve, you know that. Get out of here!
He kept yelling at me non-stop. I hated people like him, but I didn't give up. I had to do this for Yamada. I'm sorry, I didn't mean to offend you, but please, we really need this. Please!
Shut up! Get the hell out!
It was lunchtime. He walked out of the room and headed to the cafeteria, so we followed him. He ordered the lunch set and sat down. We went and sat next to him. Mr. Oba, I'm begging you, please reconsider.
You just don't give up, do you? Fine, fine. I'll figure something out. I'll talk to the construction workers.
But he said under one condition.
But this means I have to ask them a favor. In other words, I'll end up owing them one. So, what are you gonna do for me, huh?
Huh? What do you mean?
If you really want this, beg me for it!
Then he started stomping on the floor with his shoe.
You mean you want us to get down on the ground and beg you?
Everyone at the cafeteria was staring at us. I snapped back at him and said, "What? No! No way!" But I shouldn't have raised my voice at him, but it was too late for regrets now.
You're raising your voice at me now? What's your name again? What department are you in?
I'm Suzuki. I work in the housing department.
Suzuki. You got some balls, kid.
Then he slammed the table and stood up. He was well over 6 feet. I was terrified.
You know my brother? He runs things over at the Manwa family. You heard of them?
Yes.
He's with the Yakuza. You get that? Raising your voice at me like that? You're gonna regret this.
Crap, crap, crap! What do I do now? Damn it! Everyone in the cafeteria went silent. I didn't know what to do. But then...
Wait, the Manwa family? Why didn't you say so?
Yamada said to him as he pulled out his phone. He sounded relieved for some reason.
Hold on, this won't take long.
Then he started making some calls. I had no idea what was going on. A few minutes later, this black car pulled up front and some scary-looking guys stepped out.
Mr. Takahiro, you wanted to see us?
What's going on?
Thanks for coming on such short notice. Hold on, okay?
Yamada?
My older sister, she married one of the bosses of the Manwa family and... What?
No way!
I tried to keep it a secret, but... Mr. Oba, before we move on, Can I go talk to them really quick? Oh, okay. Let's call your brother over. I'm sure we can all work this out.
Then he turned around and told the Yakuza members,
Could you call your leader, Mr. Oba? Tell him we're trying to figure some things out with his brother.
Oba? There's nobody named Oba in our family.
Yeah, never heard of him.
the cafeteria went silent. Then Mr. Oba jumped down on the floor and started apologizing.
I lied! I'm sorry! My brother isn't in the manhwa family!
I didn't even know what to say to him anymore. He just kept apologizing to Yamada over and over again.
I'm sorry! I'll talk to the guys in construction! It's done! I'm really sorry!
You better.
If you ever mess with him again, you don't want to find out.
I'm sorry! I'm sorry!
He was crying like a baby, and everyone saw it. A few months later, the building was completed. Some people at the company thought the manhwa family was behind all of this, but that wasn't the case. Anyways, Mr. Oba quit his job after that. I guess things just got too awkward for him. I heard he moved out of the city and got some dead-end job. Good riddance. I'd say he got what he deserved. Hope he learned his lesson. Oh well, time to get back to work.
I'm Toru Kawaeda, 23 years old. After I graduated from junior high school, I got a job as a painter for construction. None of my friends went to high school, so I naturally started working. The people I work with used to be punks or gangsters, and they don't treat me well. They yell, they make me work 6 days a week, and no matter how hard I work, I don't get paid well. But this is the reason I can get myself together and work every day. I'm home.
Hi! Are you tired? Do you want to take a bath before dinner?
Sure. I have a girlfriend, Mayu, who has been by my side since we were in junior high school. She's a really nice and easygoing person. She can get along with anyone, but the downside is that she gets carried away easily. We've had ups and downs with her relationship with other guys, but we've been living together for 3 years now, and we're also thinking about getting married someday. One day, on my day off, Mayu was getting ready to go out, and I noticed something. Huh? I've never seen that dress before. And that necklace. Isn't that from a designer's brand? This crossed my mind, but...
I'm going out with Yumi. I'll be back after dinner, okay? See you.
She seemed to be in a hurry and left before I could say anything. Yumi is Mayu's best friend, but she's also my friend. That day, I had nothing else to do, so I followed my hunch and decided to follow her. After I see them meeting up, I was going to show up and surprise them. But, oh my god! After she got off the train and walked into town, she met up with a man who was dressed well, and they went into a cafe. Is this for real? I kept my eyes on them and waited outside. After an hour or so, they came out of the cafe and split. I was a bit relieved that nothing happened, but I continued to follow her. And her next move was to meet up with a man in his 50s and go to a nice fresh restaurant. Are you kidding me? I took a picture of them and decided to wait for her at home.
Hey, I'm back.
She probably noticed something by the look on my face. She sat down without a word. I showed her the picture and asked her what this was all about. She looked sorry and said she had some patrons.
I get paid just by talking or having dinner with them, so it was easy.
Do you want money? That much?
Yeah, I just want to be able to do what I want and buy what I want.
Okay. My paycheck isn't gonna make that happen. I can't make that happen right this second, but I'll work hard. I'll make more money so you can have the life you want. So I want you to stop making patrons. I told her how I felt and she said, okay, I'm sorry, I won't do it again. Honestly, it took some time for me to get back on my feet after this, but after that, there was nothing shady about her and I could see that she was sorry. Seeing her like that, I decided to let things go and believe her once again. And 3 years passed. I made my own business, started to earn about 3 times what I used to earn, and I decided to propose to her on our 10-year anniversary. I wanted to go ring shopping, but I just didn't have the time. So one day, I went looking for rings after work, although I was in my working uniform. I feel people staring at me because I'm obviously not dressed for the occasion. I was trying to make things quick and looked around. And then I found the one. but there's no price tag. It must be expensive. Can I see this ring, please? Sure, I'll be with you in a second. The sales clerk replied, and he disappeared. I went around the store once, and then twice, but the sales clerk didn't seem like he would return. I went up to a different clerk, and then the person I spoke to before appeared from the back room. He said bluntly, "I can't show this to you, sir." What? Why? This pissed me off. I saw a different customer come after me and actually try the same ring. I wasn't convinced, so I asked again. "No offense, but we don't carry products that underprivileged customers can purchase." What in the world? Who do you think you are? A sales clerk for this jewelry shop. That's the attitude of a sales clerk? You're not buying, so technically you're not a customer. You're just here to browse, right? Or are you here to steal because it's too hot outside? This person is nuts, so I said, "You're not getting away with this." But he just smirked at me. I was so mad I posted what happened that day online. I just wanted someone to feel for me. There was a lot of responses, and one unexpected person had sent me a message. A few days later, I revisited the same store. Again, I went after work and in my working uniform. The same sales clerk came up to me again. He said, "Oh, it's you again," but he doesn't say anything after that. Can I see the ring I was looking at the other day? I told you, this isn't a place for underprivileged customers. If you keep coming, I'm calling the police for obstruction of business. Obstruction of business? That means I'm interrupting your business, right? Exactly. Please don't. So I pull out stacks of cash from my backpack. I'm buying this ring with cash. Now, am I interrupting your business? There. He became flustered all of a sudden and said, "My apologies, sir." My plan is going well. As I was making the purchase, one person comes into the store. He is just on time. The person is the unexpected person who sent me a message through social media.
Hey, sorry I'm late.
It's all right. I just got here myself.
Hey, you look more tan than when I FaceTimed you before.
The CEO? What's going on?
Hey, is this the guy you were talking about?
Oh, yes. The person standing right in front of us. The CEO glared at him.
We need to discuss what to do with you later,
he asserted. And then Mayu came into the store. I had asked her if she could come to the store because I wanted to know what kind of ring she had in mind. She picked up the vibe and became stiff, but I beckoned her and said, "Hey, I didn't actually make you come in here for the ring." "What do you mean?" she replied. And I pointed at them and said, "You guys know each other, right? I was thinking about marrying you, but before that, I hired a private investigator."
What?
I'm glad I found out about what's going on between you guys. You know, you'd probably get fired, and you're gonna be paying a lot of money to your family, and you're basically screwed, but good luck, you guys. And I packed my cash, bowed to the CEO, and left the store. After a couple of days, I talked to the CEO again. I apologized for what happened the other day.
Oh no, I'm sorry. And actually, I have something I wanted to talk to you about.
Sure, what is it?
Toru, you're in the painting business, right?
He introduced me to his friend who owned a business and was about to open a range of new stores. Things went well, and I was able to expand my business. And those two, well, the sales clerk got fired and got a divorce, so I hear. As for Mayu, well, I hear she's all haggard. She's working day and night to pay for the compensation she was asked to pay from his family. Not that I feel sorry for her. So I went through some pretty tough times, but now I'm just focused on my business and all is well. I'll keep my priorities straight.
I'm Kazuyuki Yamamoto. I work for a real estate company. I met my girlfriend Yoshika when I was 25. We've been dating for about 5 years now. Her family was pretty rich. She didn't even have to get a part-time job in college. She worked at her dad's company as a receptionist. I was almost 30. I've been thinking about marrying her for quite some time now. We were good together. I really liked spending time with her. Maybe it's about time. So I decided to propose to her. I booked us a table at this really fancy restaurant. After months of preparations, I was ready. So after dinner, I gathered my courage and kneeled down. Yoshika, will you marry me? I didn't make much, but I saved to buy her the biggest diamond ring I could find. This thing was pretty expensive. It was about 3 months worth of my pay. I thought she might start crying from joy, but then something unexpected happened.
Look, Kazuyuki, I've been meaning to say this, but I think we should break up.
What? Why?
I've been thinking about it for a while now. I don't think we're meant for each other.
What? Why now? I don't follow.
I mean, you're cute and you're nice, but marrying you? I don't know.
What do you mean?
Look, I don't know how to say this, so I'm just gonna come out and say it. We live in different worlds. Like this fancy restaurant. This is the first time you've ever taken me to a place like this. But I need a man who has more money than that.
I was stunned. I didn't know what to say.
Oh well, I'm done here. Goodbye. Thanks for dinner.
She stood up and started walking away. I tried to stop her, but then she turned around and said,
I'm sorry to say this, but you're too poor for me. You probably want to marry me because my parents are rich, right? I know it. I can see it in your eyes. And I already like someone else, so stay out of my way.
Then she left. I just stood there in silence for a while. Everyone was staring at me. I couldn't take it anymore. I paid the tab and left. Why? I knew her family was rich, but I had no idea she was like this. It took me quite a while to recover from this. It wasn't easy, but about a month later, I was finally able to move on. Now that I think about it, Yoshika was always buying designer clothes and designer bags. She was a big spender. Maybe she wasn't the right girl for me after all. I can't afford to buy her all that stuff. Maybe this was for the best. It still hurt, but I was finally able to move on. But then, about a year later, I got a call from my mom. She said my dad had been hospitalized. He made it out alive, but he couldn't work anymore. This changed everything for me. My parents had their own business. They inherited it from my grandparents. The company was pretty big. It even had a few subsidiaries. In terms of wealth, my parents had much more of it than Yoshika's parents. But my grandfather always said, be humble, don't waste money. So even though my parents were pretty wealthy, they didn't spoil me. I didn't make much, but I was doing just fine. I was their only child, so I knew I was taking over their business someday, but I didn't think it would be so soon. But my dad needed me to step up, so I quit my job and became the vice president of my dad's company. Your father would be proud of you. Thank you, sir. I still got a lot to learn, but I'll do everything I can. My dad talked to all the board members for me beforehand, so everyone welcomed me with open arms. Since I used to work at a real estate company, they put me in charge of their real estate department. Then, about 2 years later, we acquired this big resort hotel. They were eager to sell the business, so the negotiations went pretty smoothly. I was always busy, but work was a lot of fun. One day, I was having dinner at this hotel. Then, on my way home, someone called my name. It was this chubby lady. Do I know you?
What? Don't tell me you forgot.
I still had no idea who she was, so I asked her again.
It's me, Yoshika.
Huh? Yoshika? Oh, right. Hi.
I heard from my husband's friend. You just bought the Manma Hotel, right?
Oh, you got married. Congratulations. I tried to get in my car, but...
Hold on. My husband, he's pretty rich, but he's kinda ugly. But you still got the looks, and you're rich now. If you want, I'll marry you.
Huh? What are you talking about?
You asked me to marry you once, remember?
But not yet. I gotta divorce my husband first. Otherwise, he'll sue me for damages. But even if that happens, I'm sure you can pay for me.
She just kept talking non-stop. I didn't know what to tell her. I was already running late to my next appointment, so I said to her, "Look, maybe I should talk to your father about this first." Not sure why, but she said, "Okay." So I checked my schedule. I was free the next day, so I asked my secretary to set it up. The next day, I went to her father's company. Yoshika and her father walked out of the building. Yoshika was smiling, but her father looked pretty nervous. Can't say that I blame him. Our subsidiary was one of his biggest accounts. But that was just a coincidence. I actually had no idea about it until very recently.
Sir, what brings you here today?
Well, yesterday, your daughter came up to me and said this. Then I took out my voice recorder and played the recording. I always carried a voice recorder with me. Yesterday, when she came up to me, I recorded the entire conversation. So her father heard everything she said to me.
Yoshika, what have you done?
Her dad's face turned blue. I've heard good things about his company before, but these days, I wasn't so sure. Maybe this was some kind of sign. I told him we were done doing business with his company. Then I left. I never saw Yoshika after that. Then about a year later, a friend of mine told me about her. Her dad's company went out of business, and they kicked her out of the family. I also heard that she's still bragging about the fact that I proposed to her years ago, but nobody believed her. I thought that was pretty funny. Oh well, she's not my problem anymore. And even though she was broke, she couldn't stop spending money. I guess old habits die hard. When I get married and have kids of my own, I'm gonna teach them to be humble, so they don't end up like her.